Hello and welcome to National Focus. I'm your presenter Tarnia Green. It's always a pleasure to have you join us. Among the major developments, government continue to seek strategies to prevent crime and violence. Government engaged new contractors to work on Lot 2 of the Airport Road project, and a new date has been set for the inauguration of the OECS Assembly. We'll bring you the details of these and other stories when National Focus returns. Stay with us. Welcome back. Time now for the details of the news. Government officials, criminal justice professionals, academics and members of the general public have been soliciting strategies that will hopefully help prevent or significantly reduce criminal activity on the island. This has been done through a series of public discussions spearheaded by the Ministry of National Security. The latest meeting was held in the northern community of Marigot on Monday. Government, law enforcement experts, and individuals from the wider community believe that the road to crime prevention lies through tougher laws, harsher punishments, the greater involvement of the community in crime-fighting efforts, and increased spending on community policing. Attorney General Levi Peter is one of those leading the community outreach program on crime and violence. He spoke to some contributing factors of crime and violence in the community. He emphasized the need for closer attention to be paid to the manner in which people are socialized from a young age.
The general decline in the way in which we interact with each other, something which may be considered simple, but in my view is quite significant. The relative decline in the display and exercise of courtesy that used to exist in our communities, the lack of empathy with our fellow man and woman, brother and sister. All of these factors, in my view, are significant contributing factors, because somebody who commits crime, particularly serious crime, is usually an adult. Occasionally it's a juvenile, but usually that person is an adult. That is to say that that person has had a number of years of living before they have actually found themselves in conflict with the law. And so the question really is, what can be done, not so much to address the person who has actually committed the crime, but to dissuade or prevent that person from committing the crime in the first place. I think that that's where, if we can get success in heading people off the track of committing crime, in my view, we're more likely to achieve success.
Dominica's Chief of Police, Cyril Carrette, contends that while the police are doing all within their powers to try to contain rising violent crime on the island, crime fighting should not just be the responsibility of the police, but every Dominican.
I think it is really should be a collaboration between law enforcement and the communities to ensure that we can fight crime. Because when you have crimes in a country, I think it doesn't speak away from the country. People will stay away from the country. The economic activity will drop in the country. I think that will be very, very bad for the country. Very, very bad. So I think everything we're doing is supposed to do it properly. So I think we all need to come together. We all need to come together to ensure that we try to maintain Dominica as, I would say, crime-free, but as a country of very low crime rate.
The Commonwealth of Dominica Police Force in recent times has increased patrols and intelligence gathering to ensure that crime is minimized in the country. Widening work on the Grand Fort Road is now at an advanced stage, with the promise of a much more comfortable road for motorists and pedestrians alike upon the project's completion. Work on that road project commenced in April of this year. following heavy rains last November, which resulted in significant road edge failure to what used to be a very narrow stretch of road. Parliamentary representative for the Grand Fork constituency, Honourable Ivor Stevenson, Public Works Minister Honourable Rayburn Blackmore, and a representative from Offshore Civil and Marine Incorporated, the contracting local company engaged on the project, paid a visit to the project site last Friday. Honourable Ivor Stevenson is pleased with the extent of work done so far and is convinced that when the project is complete, the road will be safer for road users. The project was done in 3 phases.
We are standing above the whole beach area, and people who have been going to Grand Fork know that this area was a very, very narrow strip of road, and it would basically scare people. It was not that safe in the sense that it was very possible to have accidents. In fact, there were some accidents down in that area sometime back where a vehicle went down in the river. And that has been a hindrance in the sense that the level of safety was a concern for people. Also, I must add to, in the areas that we visited earlier, in the Vanva area and below the Tumiel to Cabot areas, where we saw massive excavation works being undertaken. Historically, these areas too also unsafe. These areas were also very narrow areas. In fact, people who were visiting the Grand Fork would tell you that they were scared of traveling to Grand Fork because of the corners being very, very narrow, and they fear that the valley below, that vehicles would probably accidentally get down that way. So these basically were the main concerns of these areas. God bless, we had Ophelia, which enabled further damage to the road. So we are now seeing massive excavation works being undertaken, and then we have seen a much greater level of safety on the road. And anybody now traveling to these areas might have difficulty identifying the areas previously known as Holbridge and the Vanva.
Public Works Minister Honourable Rayburn Blackmore says so far over $500,000 have been spent on this important road project. He says the next phase of the project will involve the construction of storm drains and resurfacing works.
The intention in terms of the quantum of work to be done going forward is to have 300 meters of road work and 300 meters of concrete drains. In some farms, we're going to have slipper drains and storm drains because sometimes you have a lot of rain, a lot of water. I want to ensure that there's proper outlet and for the discharging of the water. So I think that in itself is commendable and a much improvement to what previously obtained. In terms of the overall cost, immediately after we had the effects of the rain late last year, we had spent as a government something like $150,000 to do initial excavation work. We're spending right now over $400,000 to do what we're doing right now. The intention is to have two-way traffic throughout the road length leading up to the village. So I think that's commendable so far.
The rehabilitation of the Grand Fork Road is a further manifestation of government's commitment to improve the country's road network by the year 2015. And the government of Dominica has contracted the services of 2 subcontractors, Offshore Civil and Marine Incorporated and Dipcon Engineering Limited, to assist with completion works on Lot 2 of the Airport Road project. These additional subcontractors will work alongside the original contractor, Emil Gadakan and Sons, on the project. The completion date for the project was set for Tuesday, June 19, 2012. However, due to several work stoppages, that deadline will not be met. Public Works Minister Honourable Rayburn Blackmore explained to the media that the additional contractors have been given specific instructions to focus on areas where the original contractor had fallen short.
The intention so far is to have the work segmented, and there has been some agreement between all parties, and 2 additional contractors with the competence will be given 2 segments of that project. The segments where the main contractor has not been able to demonstrate a sense of commitment to finishing the work.
The contractors were expected to commence work in earnest on Monday of this week from the roundabout in Port Cassé to Melville Hall.
From the Port Cassé roundabout going back to Debranche, nothing significant except for some culvert extension, etc., and some base work has been done. So, and from the Port Cassé going back into Debranche, that area there, which we're very much concerned about, those areas there will be given to 2 subcontractors, and the main contractor will remain low down where he's been doing his base work, etc., etc. And then he will have to be monitored going forward, and to ensure that he too, in his segment that has been given to him, increase significantly its performance with a view to bringing some closure to this work.
Lot 2 of the Airport Road project runs concurrently with a number of other projects underway by the same ministry, including the sea defense wall currently being built in Point Michel. The OECS Economic Union and the OECS Assembly of Parliamentarians were the main topics discussed at the recently held OECS Heads of State meeting in St. Vincent. In an interview with GIS News on Tuesday, Prime Minister Honorable Roosevelt Skerrit revealed that the regional leaders also discussed steps towards formalizing the revised Treaty of Basse-Terre.
The OECS meeting took place in St. Vincent last week, and Dominica attended. At this meeting, there are several very important matters we discussed, central of which was the OECS Economic Union, and certainly reviewing where we are with regards to the progress that we've made in respect to the OECS Union, and what are the other steps we have to take towards formalizing the other aspects within the revised Treaty of Basse-Terre, which has caused the Economic Union to be created. And one of the very important elements of the union, OECS Economic Union, is the OECS Assembly of Parliamentarians. And as you know, we should have had the first meeting in Antigua last week. That had to be postponed for administrative reasons. And we expect to have the first meeting in August of 2012 in Antigua.
The Prime Minister expressed hopes that attendees of the OECS Assembly of Parliamentarians would only highlight issues relevant to the regional body.
At that assembly, as you know, it will be comprised of both government and opposition members of parliament in every OECS member state. And in Dominica's case, because of the parliament and the proportion of the seats to the government and to opposition, I believe that the leader of the opposition and there'll be 4 from the government side representing Dominica at this OECS assembly. We look forward to this assembly, and of course Dominica fully supports the formalization of the assembly. Our hope is that very important regional matters will be discussed that are affecting the lives of the people of the Caribbean, or the OECS. Oftentimes when you have these assemblies, people bring parochial issues to a regional setting. And our hope is that all of us can rise to the occasion and recognize that we are, in fact, in a regional assembly discussing issues that will affect and impact the lives of the OECS people.
Honorable Skerrit further disclosed that the economic crisis affecting the world and subsequently the region was also an important item on the agenda.
And as you know, there's a real global crisis affecting every single country, and every single country in the OECS is affected by this global crisis. There's a dramatic drop in revenue, and there's also an increase in expenditure. And the question is, how do you balance those things? I mean, there's a serious drop in revenue, and you still have to continue providing the goods and services to your people. And in some cases, you've had to even increase the amounts spent on social safety net programs to mitigate against the challenges which citizens are confronting.
The Prime Minister reported that this issue will be further discussed at the Monetary Council meeting later this month in St. Kitts and Nevis. In more news, 11 individuals graduated from a Principles of Andragogy course at the Dominica State College last Friday. Andragogy consists of learning strategies focused on adults. It is often interpreted as the process of engaging adult learners with the structure of learning experience. This particular program, which was facilitated by Stephen Joseph, targeted individuals in the tourism sector.
So we looked at, first of all, the characteristic of the adult learner. Right? There's no way you could be teaching adult learners that do not know about the kind of people that you have to deal with. We looked at planning and instructions. Looked at delivery of courses, for instance, teaching strategies, teaching methodologies, right? We looked at how do you organize a classroom setting in such a way that it will make it dynamic, make it an area where adults can thrive in. And finally, we look at the assessing the learning outcomes. Though I must say that these students who are graduating today, the graduates, they did a beautiful job.
Representative of the Discover Dominica Authority, Kathleen Cuffey, has recognized the major benefits of this program to the development of the tourism sector.
DDA now trusts that participants, the participants, will apply the knowledge and all the skills that you've learned for the duration of the course in your day-to-day professional career, again, in tourism. We will ultimately, whatever you do, I'm sure will ultimately impact positively on the tourism industry. The information that you've learned during the courses, if you pass it on, not that you have not been doing it, but again, to enforce it, because providing good customer service example is key. It helps with return visitors, it helps with persons giving good information on Dominica by word of mouth. So DDA wishes to thank the OECS for supporting the Tourism Training and Awareness Program for the past 5 years. We are indeed grateful and anticipate continued support in the area of tourism training and awareness in the near future. DDA remains appreciative of you, the tourism facilitators, for your professionalism in carrying out your duties and playing such an integral role towards the development of Dominica's tourism industry.
This is yet another tangible demonstration of the commitment of the Dominica State College to improve the quality of life of nationals.
Today's graduation of 11 non-traditional teachers, lecturers, tutors, trainers is testimony to the fact that the Faculty of Education is delivering on this mission. As a faculty, therefore, we celebrate our continuous growth.
During Friday's ceremony, Merrill Matthew explained the overall benefits of the program.
The competence of the 11 graduates will spill over as they become engaged in training our first level providers. The quality of their presentations, the quality of their instruction would be seen in the quality of the products that we deliver. Secondly, improved training will result in improved service to our customers, to our visitors. And the ripple effect of the course is therefore very clear. Our training will improve, visitor expectations will be reached, the tourism industry in Dominica will excel.
Meantime, President of the Dominica State College, Dr. Donald Peters, explained that the institution is proud to be associated with such a program.
It's important that we embrace the scientific approach for learning. I'm glad that the Dominica State College could be instrumental in bringing that skill to you, and we'll continue to do that. But now we expect that you will go out there and help the industry as you train people.
And that's the English segment of the news. McPherson St. Luce comes up next with the Creole highlights.
Alors tout le monde, bienvenue à cette nouvelle en créole. Non, moi c'est McPherson St. Luce. Premièrement, officier Education Trust Fund recevait l'argent de compagnie Malcolm Stevens à valeur $5,000. Présentation là pour place en l'office ministre éducation lundi semaine là. Ministère éducation Honorable Peter Saint-Jean recevait l'argent là à son compte ministre éducation. Si l'homme ministre Saint-Jean, l'argent là qui servi un dénégion parents à yo papier voyer l'école.
moun qui a conduit business en Dominique, yo ka fait une contribution pour développer jeunes gens Dominique. Et aujourd'hui là nous Malcolm Stevenson qui yo ban nous en check pour augmenter le travail là nous ka fait en Education Trust Fund. Et nous savons que Education Trust Fund qui est établi par gouvernement avec il a adressé ces problèmes là qui enfants l'école peuple l'école ni il y a le monde Dominique qui passe réellement bas enfants yo si pour yo te keblé et ça veut dire yo passe à gagner livre textbook yo passe à gagner uniforme et aussi payer transport et yo passe à payer pour exam CXC et Education Trust Fund qu'a aidé ses parents pour faire ces dépenses aux bas enfants ces enfants et tous les années Education Trust Fund a essayé de lever l'argent qu'il a besoin pour travailler pour l'année là. Et nous avons créé un radiothon et nous avons qui content qu'à passer ça nous a tapé ça nous a levé qu'à diminuer à nous bien contents les monde business en ville Roseau en Dominique ça vient avec faire une contribution à Trust Fund et nous a complimenté manager avec travailleur Malcolm Steven puisque yo ka vraiment qui ça Trust Fund ka fait ça nous ka fait en éducation en Dominique est important et nous ka créer à sous d'autres peuples qui ka fait business pour aider Trust Fund pour nous aider les enfants Dominique pour y une bonne qualité éducation Dominique.
À notre nouvelle, le gouvernement Dominique a contracté deux compagnies offshore civil marine incorporated ensemble et puis Deepcon Engineering pour assister au travail à ce lot des projets chimiques basse avion Melville Hall. C'est des contracteurs là qui travaillent et puis compagnie Gadakan augmenter le travail là pour finir. Compagnie Gadakan est supposé finir le projet là par juin l'année là, mais après là il détient problème ou la travail été arrêté. Ces contracteurs neuf là ni mada mettez attention ou la Gadakan tenir problème. Ces contracteurs neuf là qui expectent pour commencer le travail semaine là, on pas casser pour Melville Hall. À la nouvelle, State College Dominique chaîne graduation semaine passée après monter fait course en différents bagailles. Participant Bertrand John Baptiste fait course en affaires forêt qui a continué de travailler. Sinon, M. John Baptiste course là allait autant bien.
Pour plusieurs années actuellement, c'est moi qui teach affaires pour les oiseaux, pour les gens qui faire certification, la programme pour tour guide. Avec State College, ils ont offert nos courses là l'année passée en novembre pour 6 semaines. Nous tenons pour venir tous les mardis, mercredi c'est Thursday, mercredi à Saint-Cher pour 8 heures. Pour ça là, comme ça c'est pas easy. Là on est pour sortir du travail, ou sont adultes, sortir du travail, on nous a fait pour faire. Mais quand même nous débrouiller nous avec constater bien bon. Quand on bon matin là, monsieur Joseph même, il c'est un bon teacher. Il c'est un bon teacher. Il tenait autant passer avec nous. Parce que nous-mêmes, comme adultes, nous pas aisés. Nous poser questions et même ils interagissent avec nous bien. Et bagaille là marche bien même. Et quand on s'en va moi là, nous tous gradués et ça fait nous plaisir. Et préparer moi pour ça, moi-même ça préparer comment pour moi ça teach course moi. Parce que déjà que faut qu'on fait un bitin ou qu'on fait bien. Mais ni autant bitin il prépare pour faire. Comment pour organiser classroom là. Quelle manière pour vous-même essayer à mêler les informations là, parce que vous-même quand teach les adultes, comment ça mêler les informations là, à une manière vous-même ça comprendre les plus simple. Parce que c'est pas négion, c'est quoi mon cas ou teach. Comme ça, il prépare nous en une bonne manière.
Madame Avril John Daniel, c'est des participants à faire hospitalité touriste.
Moun qui pas petit négion ça, mais grand monde qui a train grand monde. Pour montrer comment pour deal avec ces gens-là, ils viennent pour différents training. Comme mon cas deal avec customer service avec les gens qui ont tourisme. So, moi pour changer, ça pas négatif mon cas deal avec. So, pour parler avec eux en différentes manières, moi pour savoir, bah yo temps pour bah moi compte expérience en area yo ka travail. So les mon ka délivrer moi ça ensemble avec yo comprendre comment pour présenter présentation là pour yo comprendre meilleur et pour yo travailler de temps en temps pour instruire qui bagaille là moi passer pour yo ça aide yo en travail là yo ka fait. Si vous organisez bien ou que dépenser moins l'argent, c'est moun là qui traîne, yo que comprendre meilleur ça ou ka di yo que ni plus confiance en dedans plus yo ka ouais ça ou ka di là ou ça ou ka parler compte. Ou que regarder ou là ou ka aller faire training là doit être place là trop petit, place là trop chaud. Et ces participants là, ça fait quoi yo confortable dans place comme ça. So il ka faire plus changer toutes ces bagages pour garder pour les ou ka train moun en ces différentes conditions là.
Messieurs, mesdames, ça c'est tout pour nouvelles en créole pour à présent. Non, moi c'est McPherson, Luce. Au revoir.
When we come back, we'll bring you a few upcoming events and government notices. Please stay tuned.
You're watching GIS.
Time now for the government notices. All those concerned are asked to note the following hurricane shelters and shelter managers for the communities of Dalis, Dubla and Bioche. Dalis, your hurricane shelters are 1. The Dalis Youth Center, Shelter Manager Gilliam Williams, Assistant Shelter Manager Joseph Centville. 2. The Dalis Primary School. The shelter manager there is Alan George and his assistant is Yvonne Geist. 3. And the Dalis Pentecostal Church, where the shelter manager is Hendrix Williams. The assistant manager is Samuel Hilaire. Dubla, your hurricane shelter is the Dubla Government School. Valentin Victor is the shelter manager and Curtis Fossois is the assistant. In Bioche, your 2 hurricane shelters are 1. The Bioche Nazarene Church. The shelter manager is Pascal Hilton. His assistant is Kimron Fossois. 2. And the Bioche Fisheries Complex, where the shelter manager is Elvis Sabroch and the assistant shelter manager is Henry Sango. The management and staff of the center where adolescents learn to love and serve calls wishes to inform the general public that applications are presently being accepted for the next program, which will commence on Monday, 3rd September at 8 a.m. Registration ends on July 6 at 2 p.m. Applicants must be at least 16 years of age or will turn 16 by December 2012. Birth certificate and a registration fee of $10 must accompany the application. A recommendation letter from your last school will be appreciated. A parent or guardian must accompany the applicant, and applications are considered on a first-come, first-serve basis. Up next is your tip of the day. Today we'll share with you a few tips on how to go about developing one's self-confidence. The way a person carries himself tells a story. People with slumped shoulders and lethargic movements display a lack of self-confidence. By practicing good posture, you automatically feel more confident. Stand up straight, keep your head up, and make eye contact. You'll make a positive impression on others and instantly feel more alert and empowered. And that's National Focus. As usual, we invite your suggestions or comments. Please feel free to drop us an email at gis@dominica.gov.dm, or you can visit our website at news.gov.dm. Or you could visit our GIS Dominica page on YouTube and Facebook. On behalf of the entire news production team, I'm your presenter, Tarnia Green. Thank you so much for watching, and do remember to join us again tomorrow.